Thank you for coming. I'd like to welcome everybody to Irondequoit Town Hall. For our visitors from outside the Irondequoit community, welcome to the town of Irondequoit. We're honored to have you here. I'm Town Supervisor Dave Seeley. We're very honored to host today's presentation of the Carnegie Medal on behalf of the Carnegie Hero Fund Commission. Before we get started, I first want to welcome some of our honored guests who were kind enough to join us here today. We have Monroe County Clerk Adam Bello. Yep, you can clap. We have the President of the Monroe County Legislature, Joseph Carbone. From the Irondequoit Town Board, my colleagues, we have Deputy Supervisor John Perdicone. We have Councilwoman Kimmy Romeo. From Senator Rich Funke's office, we have Gloria Hunter. Gloria. And from our new Assemblywoman Jamie Romeo's office, we have Teddy Reifmeyer. Teddy. Also, we're happy to be joined by, in addition to members from our Irondequoit Police Department, various representatives from our fire departments in Irondequoit, as well as our ambulance, Irondequoit ambulance. Please give them a round of applause as well. I don't think I left anyone out. So I'm going to be brief because I'm going to turn this over to the folks who really put this together. We're gathered here today to pay tribute to two men who exhibited what is amongst the most noble attributes of our human existence, and that's the willingness to risk one's life to save that of a stranger. The parable of the Good Samaritan is described by Jesus in the Gospel of Luke as an answer to the question, and who is my neighbor? Jesus tells the story of a traveler who was attacked and beaten along the road within an inch of his life and left to die there. After two passerbyers do not attend to him or show care, the Good Samaritan comes to the man's aid. The parable still holds true today, and it has been the mission of the Carnegie Hero Fund Commission to recognize, as Andrew Carnegie stated in 1904, the heroes of our civilization. One of the great paradoxes of our existence is the fact we celebrate things that are derived from circumstances we perhaps wish had never been present. We're gathered here today because fate had it that two boys were in harm's way on August 19, 2017, and two heroes came to their rescue. One of those heroes, who I'm proud to say was a resident of this community, lost his life committing this act of devotion to his neighbor. And it's incumbent upon us to celebrate those acts which reflect the very best of our humanity, the absence of delay in jumping into the water to save the lives of two children. On behalf of the town of Irondequoit, I am so very honored to welcome Philip Orzik and the family of Jason Siglu here. And to Jason's family, we once again offer our most sincere condolences for your loss. I would be remiss if I did not thank the Irondequoit Police Department, led by Chief Richard Tantillo, for their successful efforts to procure this recognition for Mr. Orzik and Mr. Siglo. I want to make note, because Susan would attack me if I didn't do it, but Susan Plunkett, who was an associate of Jason's, was nice enough to cater this event, donate her services. As she said, Jason would have loved to have had a party. So afterwards, please join us in the hallway for some delicious food and some reminiscing and the ability to commune with one another. After Lieutenant Jim Reed leads us in the pledge, we will then turn things over to Captain Mark Bean, who is the man really responsible for helping this presentation come to fruition. Captain Bean has done an exorbitant amount of work. He's a very good planner, as I've learned, and I just want to recognize him for his hard work to make sure these two heroes are recognized. With that, I will turn things over to Lieutenant Reed for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. In 1904, Andrew Carnegie established the Carnegie Hero Fund Commission. to recognize outstanding acts of selflessness, heroism by ordinary people during extraordinary times. The Commission carefully evaluates the events in order to choose the recipients. I can tell you that over the last year, we have worked with the Commission, and it is not an award that is frivolously given out to anybody. There are painstaking hours put into reviewing reports, speaking to witnesses, and the people involved with this event. This award recognizes someone who knowingly risks their life while attempting to save another human life. Andrew Carnegie believed in the power of one person that can change the events of the world. The ability for one person to influence or change the outcome of one event, to make one difference, and to give a life or act selflessly for one another. I'm going to play a approximately 10-minute video about the Carnegie Foundation. This video is sad, but it really encompasses what the foundation is about and what they stand for.
On January 25th, 1904, an explosion 200 feet underground rocked the Harwick coal mine, 15 miles north of Pittsburgh. 180 miners were working there on that bitterly cold day. Immediate calls for aid went out, and mine engineer Selwyn Taylor quickly responded. He and others entered the mine and brought 16-year-old Adolph Gunia to the surface. He was the only one of the miners to leave the mine alive. Selwyn Taylor tragically did not survive the rescue mission. He died soon after from the effects of the toxic gases. In another rescue attempt the next day, coal miner Daniel Lyle entered the mine despite the known dangers, but he too perished. 181 men died in the Harwick mine disaster. News of this awful tragedy traveled around the world. In a 64-room mansion in New York's Upper East Side, it caught the attention of Andrew Carnegie, the world's richest man. The deaths of the miners and the rescuers touched him so deeply that he would create an organization that would be, in his own words, without parallel in the history of human benevolence.
When he set up the commission, Carnegie focused on something that was of enduring value to human beings, and it's just as valuable today.
So we received a call from one of the folks that worked with the FAA, and he said, I think we're missing an aircraft.
As I approached the river, the overwhelming thing was that this was as desperate as a scene could be. I was thinking that I have to try something, and so I just kept running until I got to the edge of the river, and then I just hopped in. I could live with myself if I attempted to do something and failed on that occasion. Even if I didn't survive it, I could figuratively live with that. If I did nothing, I don't know if I could live with that.
Heroes are people who put themselves in danger of life or serious injury to save the life of someone else. We ask, did they leave a place of safety? Did they put themselves in danger of death or serious injury? And in the subsidiary question, did they understand that? And finally, did they do it to rescue another human being?
As I was making my way out toward them, I was yelling to them that I was coming out, because the object of this whole thing was to give them some measure of hope. If I could just buy them a little time, maybe somebody could do something. Maybe not me, but somebody could.
We shot an approach into the main wreckage area and immediately saw someone struggling in the water. We weren't really sure how long they'd been in the water, but we knew that time was critical.
So I told Don, well, let's go in right on the top and pick this lady up, because it seems she's having some problems. So He did a magnificent job of putting me right on top of her, and my end of the skid I was standing on out there went under the water, and that just allowed me, when I leaned over and got a hold of her, I could just float her right up on the skid with me.
Right away, he told me that we were taking on water and that the back of the aircraft was going into the water. So I had to compensate for his weight plus her weight to make sure the tail rotor didn't touch the water surface. And as soon as he said go, then I went. As we approached the shoreline, the rotor system was at forehead level, so we'd had to raise an altitude to not kill people on the shoreline.
They had dropped two lines from the helicopter. One girl grabbed one of them, then there was a man and a girl grabbed the other one. The guy's hanging onto the buoy and the girl's hanging onto him, and the helicopter starts coming towards the bank. First girl falls off, then second girl falls off, and she's on a slab of ice. She grabs the buoy again with both hands, starts towards the bank. The minute she comes off the ice slab, one of the arms comes out of the buoy. At that second, I'm taking my boots and my coat off, and I've decided I'm going in after her. So I make my way to the embankment, dive in the water, swim out to her, position myself behind her the best way I could. So I just grabbed her, give her a little push, get her head above water, and then firemen waded in, grabbed her, and then I swam off to the side, and that was mission accomplished.
"10 minutes, that's all it was. I think a hero is somebody who does something because something inside wakes up and says, you've got to do that. And what they do is positive, and it does something, it changes somebody's life. I think that's a hero.
I think the important thing in acknowledging heroic acts, heroic people, is that people come to see that the ones that they're looking up to as heroes are really no different from themselves, and that everyone has the capability of doing extraordinary things under extraordinary circumstances, and more importantly, that even under circumstances that are not extraordinary, that we all have the capability of helping each other, and we're at our best when we do that.
Our heroes are as different among themselves as all human beings are, but if there's a theme that runs through their reactions, it's a little bit of surprise and a little bit of humility, a little bit of disbelief that what they did was so very special. But one of the nice things about the commission and the award is that we're there to say, oh yes, it was special.
The Carnegie Hero Fund Commission awarded its first medal to 17-year-old Louis Bauman, who, in 1904, saved a childhood friend from drowning. In 1956, Dorothy Koch was honored for saving two policemen during a shootout in a Cleveland nightclub. Dorothy was struck by a bullet and paralyzed for life. World-ranked boxer Rudell Stitch is one of only 4 people to have received the Carnegie Medal twice, in 1958 and again in 1960. He was involved in rescues near a dam on the Ohio River in Louisville, Kentucky. He and the victim survived the first, but both died in the second. Over its history, the Carnegie Hero Fund has awarded the Carnegie Medal to thousands of individuals who have risked their lives on behalf of others, and has distributed millions of dollars in grants, tuition, and other financial assistance to them and their families. It is an enormous legacy, representing thousands of lives saved, thousands of children who would be born and raised, work that would be done. The power and dignity of these actions resonates to this day when new heroes walk among us. On a busy street corner, Andy Johnson disarmed and subdued a man attacking a young woman with an 8-inch meat cleaver.
People always ask me why I did it. And I think it's because they're trying to figure out whether or not they would do it themselves.
When a sniper opened fire on her college campus, Holly Garlitz ran out into the line of fire to pull a wounded classmate to safety.
Things could have turned out so differently that day, but it's made me grateful for everything that I have.
While attending a ball game, Ramonda Freeman rescued a wounded boy from the middle of a gunfight between rival gangs.
He was just a kid, and I'm a mom, and I wasn't going to just leave him.
Helicopter pilots Kevin Caffrey and Jeffrey Miller executed a perilous and technically challenging rescue of a woman clinging to a small tree in the Niagara River.
When we get a call to go up in Niagara Falls, you're certainly your heart skips a beat. All it takes is one mistake.
What do the heroes have in common? It can be said about all of them that they have an ethic of caring. In one single inspired moment, one selfless act, they put another's life ahead of their own.
When you look back over our history, you see the medals and the people who won them. You think about the people whose lives were saved, the lives that were lost. It seems massive, but the thing we always remember is it was done one rescue at a time, one decision at a time, by one individual. And that's what we're honoring.
I do not expect to stimulate or create heroism by this fund, knowing well that heroic action is impulsive. The Hero Fund is for watching, applauding, and supporting the heroic action, wherever displayed and by whomever displayed. At least this is my hope.
So tonight we gather to recognize two individuals who truly embody the Andrew Carnegie's philosophy of the power of one and how their acts have affected the people in our community and the people around us. Their acts of heroism have influenced tonight and further nights to come. I'd like to have Lieutenant Reed come up with me. Lieutenant Reed was there that day that we received the 911 call to the Bay Outlet. He was the commanding supervisor there, and I'm going to have him help with the awards when it comes to that. Just to give a little bit of a brief background, on August 19th, 2017, it started out as an average summer day with temps near 80 degrees. Many people gathered at the Rondequoit Bay Outlet Park that day to enjoy the beach and the boating. The Gonzalez brothers, at that time, ages 8 and 9, were among the people there to relax and enjoy with their family. Both brothers went to play and have fun in the water. A short time after entering the water, they found themselves away from the shore and unable to touch the bottom of Lake Ontario. Both tried to make their way back, but were unable to do so. Both were in distress and finding it hard to stay afloat in the water. At approximately 5:07 p.m., calls to 911 came in. Police, fire, EMS crews were dispatched to the Rondequoit Bay Outlet for people in the water distressed and drowning. Prior to emergency arrival, and without regard for their own safety, two Good Samaritans took immediate action and jumped into the water to help the children who were struggling to stay afloat. At this time, I'd like to have Mr. Philip Orzek come up. One of the males that jumped in the water was Philip Orzek from Connecticut. Mr. Orzek was out boating that day with friends and came to the aid of the children. When he noticed the children in distress, he jumped in from the boat, swam to one of the children, and helped them get back to safety. He disregarded his own safety and put the lives of others before his. Due to his actions on that day, Mr. Philip Orzek was chosen by the Carnegie Foundation to be one of the recipients of the 2018 Carnegie Hero Medal Awards. Congratulations. At this time, I'd like to have Vincent and Mason Sigalo come up, as well as the family of Jason Sigalo. Jason Sigalo from Irondequoit was also at the beach enjoying the day. His attention was brought to the boys that were in the water and in distress. Without hesitation, Mr. Sigalo jumped in the water and swam to one of the children. He helped the child stay afloat to prevent him from drowning. A boater noticed the events and quickly came to the area and assisted the child to the land. Mr. Sigalo was unable to swim back to shore himself. He remained in the water and became unconscious and unresponsive. He was brought to the pier where fire, EMS, and Irondequoit police members arrived and began CPR on him. Mr. Sigalo was transported to the hospital where he later succumbed to his injuries while rescuing one of the children. Jason Sigalo unselfishly gave his life to save the lives of another. Due to his actions on that day, Mr. Sigalo was chosen by the Carnegie Foundation to be another one of the recipients of the 2018 Carnegie Hero Medal Awards. We would like to present the Carnegie Hero Medal to Jason's two sons, Vincent and Mason Sigalo. Without the heroic actions of Mr. Sigalo and Mr. Philip Orzik, the outcome would have been much different. Both the Gonzalez boys are here today to show their deep respect and gratitude to Mr. Orzik, Mr. Sigalo, and his family. I'd like to invite Chief Tantillo up to do the closing remarks before we have a brief reception.
Thank you very much, Captain Bean. First of all, I'm humbled to be among heroes here today. And as a police officer for 40 years, this is certainly a very distinguished and well-deserving ceremony and award presentation to those who give above and beyond. I also would be remiss if I did not acknowledge the exceptional response from first responders that day, under the leadership of both Lieutenant Reed, fire personnel, Irondequoit ambulance, and all of those citizens that took action in order to prevent this tragedy from becoming worse. I certainly want to start by congratulating the Carnegie Medal Award recipients. This is a day that allows us to recognize those who, without regard for their own personal safety, sought to help those in need. It is heroic acts such as these that define our community and serve as an exceptional act of humanity towards others. This incident impacted many people in many, many ways. A situation that involved a tragic loss, but also serves to prevent additional tragedy from occurring. The actions of Jason Sigalo and Philip Orzik have changed the lives of many in our community. We cannot thank those two heroes enough for their brave and courageous acts. Today we recognize Philip Orzik, Jason Sigalo, and his family with this life-changing and life-saving Carnegie Medal of Honor. And join in the celebration of life. And we celebrate life in many ways. I want to thank Supervisor David Seeley for allowing us to host this event, recognizing the exceptional work that Captain Bean has done associated with this award presentation. Lieutenant James Reed, who we mentioned was the commanding officer of the Irondequoit Police Department that day, and assistant to the supervisor Maria Vecchio, and the Carnegie Award Recognition Committee for planning this special program. This really sets our community apart. And although there's some sadness associated with it, it certainly demonstrates the type of people that we interact with on a daily basis. Your sense of commitment and dedication is greatly appreciated. As we close this ceremony, I would like to invite all of us to join in a gathering with the help of Susan Plunkett Catering out in the vestibule and lobby area of the town hall. This is certainly an appropriate way of us demonstrating our appreciation for all that you have done. The only thing that I ask is that we have the award recipients just stand by for a few moments so that our elected officials, our government leaders, our community leaders can share in this congratulation and really support you as you move forward with all the good things that you will do. Thank you very much. So can we have the award? I'll take the lead on this. Can we have the award winners?
We hope you enjoyed this special event coverage on ICAT Government Access.